to USA Global TV, home of Talking Heads, and welcome to our friends on Business Talk Radio out of Long Island, New York. You are watching I Have a Story to Tell. My name is Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and we are thrilled to have you here with us today. We have two incredible guests, and we will be hearing their story, not mine. Our first guest is joining us from the Netherlands. How exciting is that? He is a musician, an author, a mentor, a coach, and a speaker. Let us welcome DMITRY BADIAROV to our show. Hi.
Hi. Hello, Dr. JACALYN. What a wonderful, energetic introduction. The music, the intro, your energy, just set me on fire. I have to calm down, and I'm really excited about this meeting you. And I'm really impressed profoundly by everything you are doing, everything you have achieved thus far. I have plenty of questions to ask you. How did you do all this? I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk to you and, yes, share this message. So I'm really excited about this. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And I'm excited about all that you've accomplished and you're accomplishing. And you have your own show. You are a podcaster yourself. So you have the background of what it's like to bring someone on an interview, and it's exciting and it's always rewarding because you learn something. That's how I feel about it. So thank you again for taking the time to be here. What time is it there now?
It is 7:30 in the evening.
Okay. And so here it's 1:30, so we're 6 hours apart. Indeed. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about your role as a musician and then build on from there. How does that sound?
That sounds great. So it's the area of my expertise. Indeed, I have a lot of music in my veins because I grew up in a musical family. I educated myself. I trained myself to become a professional violinist. And this is what I've been doing most of my life until a certain moment when I discovered my passion for building fine concert-grade instruments. Actually, I started at the age of 11. And I graduated from one of the best schools in the former Soviet Union, in Leningrad and St. Petersburg. Then it became St. Petersburg. Then I went on to continue my education in Brussels with a celebrity musician, especially an expert in Baroque violin, the founder of one of the most famous Baroque orchestras in the world, known as La Petite Bande. And this is when my dream came true to become a member, one of the members of La Petite Bande for 12 years. Indeed, still when I lived in Russia, this was my dream to tour, to travel around the world, making music with fantastic musicians. So this is where I continued my musical journey in Brussels and indeed traveling all around the world. And at the same time, I have always been fascinated by instrument making. And I trained myself to also become a professional instrument maker. And my moving to Brussels enabled me to start eventually. It was not a straightforward success, obviously, but enabled me to become an instrument maker and start building instruments for a very impressive and very inspiring musicians. So in a nutshell, that is my story, skipping quite a few details, of course. That's how my journey has begun.
Well, it's quite exciting. And when you talk about instrument making, I see some violins behind you. Are they yours that you've made?
Yes, indeed. So I'm now talking to you and to our audience from my violin making studio in The Hague, the Netherlands. And that's where I work.
It looks quite lovely. How do people connect with you? How do they work with you if they're interested in having you make an instrument for them?
This is a wonderful question. And this is one of the questions that also lots of instrument makers asking to me. How, DMITRY, do you get new customers? So the backbone of my business is based on social media, digital marketing, on copywriting, building funnels, building and optimizing websites, and getting organic and also paid traffic. So to simplify this for our audience, I truly believe that when you're running something as complex, and a lot of businesses are complex, way more complex than violin making for that matter, so we need to finding a way to make it as simple as possible so that we can control things. And when something isn't working, we can focus on what is not working, approach it analytically, then optimize just that bit and then put all the bits together. So As a result of my experience as a violin maker, for that matter, I discovered that there are just 5 steps that are really crucial to instrument makers in order to serve musicians better. So this is the sound. Now, what do I mean by the sound? The sound is obviously something very, very obvious because musicians love music. They love when the instruments sound great. And it's great when instrument maker loves the sound. They're very satisfied with the sound. However, what I found out is that is even more important, that the sound doesn't have to be just great. It has to be exactly the sound that musician is seeking in order to achieve his or her artistic goals. So that's step number 1. The second step would be the style. Now, what do I mean by the style? It's the appealing look of the instrument. Of course, it has to be beautiful. And of course, it has to be, it has to inspire, empower, and just help the musician to get more confidence, get more inspired, impress their audience, impress their employers. And what I found out is it's very important to keep the style in your instruments, not just with something that you connect with, that you find personally beautiful or convincing. It is very important to have that style deeply on a psychological level connected with your customer, with the musician for whom that instrument is being created. And the third step, which is very, very important, is having a strategy. And here's what I mean by the strategy. I discovered that, by the strategy, I mean the right pricing strategy. Because in this 25 years of being a professional violin maker, I discovered that without having the right pricing strategy, anything you do, musicians will find it either too cheap or too expensive. And what is even more important, I discovered that for lots of very dedicated and very professional musicians, especially younger musicians, it's the price that is the obstacle on their way to acquiring a better instrument. And this is why I discovered that actually we need to work together with musicians so that the financial hurdles are no longer an obstacle. And this is where it creates simply win-win situations. It's a win for the instrument maker, it's a win for the musician, and it is the win for the audience the musicians want to inspire. So besides strategy, I discovered it is also very important to have an effective system or an effective sales approach, so that the truth is without the sale, there is no way to serve a musician. So the sale needs to occur. So there must be a systematic and verified sales approach. And because without sales, marketing just doesn't make sense. If there is no effective way to close deal and help musician, all the rest just doesn't really make any sense. And the last step, and it is on purpose that I put it the last, is a system. Now, what do I mean by the system? By the system, I mean a way to acquire new customers without having to depend on travel restrictions, without having to travel to exhibitions, without having to travel to meet musicians, without having musicians to travel to as well. So there must be a system, a marketing system, so to speak, that will bring these new prospects and new leads on autopilot. So these are the 5 steps. This is what I have discovered, and it is really helpful when an instrument maker has this complete clarity in their head. And I've been training a number of instrument makers, and I was really inspired by their results when they were implementing step by step this very fine system. It is just so inspiring. And today, really, this is where my heart is. I really love serving people. I really love helping people. And that is true for both professional musicians and serious amateurs, for that matter. I do have also a few very inspiring, very impressive amateur musicians among my customers, literally from all around the world. And I have a group of absolutely fantastic instrument makers I have had the privilege and honor to partner with and share my thoughts, share my ideas, so they build and develop their businesses even farther, and they can offer even more quality, even more value to their musicians wherever they are. And JACALYN, there's one question that I get very often. Dimitri, it just doesn't make sense. You are helping your competitors? Yes, I do. And here's why. Because in my mindset, in my mind, I do not live. And that's what I share with lots of. I truly believe that somebody else's success is not at my expense. There is more musicians that need us than I can ever serve in my entire life. I just don't have enough time to serve these other musicians. This is why I'm very, very happy when somebody gets served with the hand of one of my partners, instrument makers, wherever they live, in the United States, in Canada, in Japan, in Mexico, wherever, in Italy, Spain, everywhere. That is very inspiring.
Wow, what a fascinating story. You've given so many what we call gems in terms of the backstory, the business of being an artist, a creator like yourself, and you're training people. So a question I have for you is the craft, the expertise of violin making, how has it changed or evolved in the 25 years that you've been doing this? Or is it exactly the same as it was?
This is a wonderful question. So there are a lot of things that have changed indeed. So when I just started as an instrument maker, there was no such a thing as a social media, and on top of this, mind that I started in the former Soviet Union, which was a fairly much a totalitarian communist state where you didn't have a lot of liberties to do what you want. You were allowed a certain thing by the government. You're pretty much fully controlled by the government. That was not a fun. That was really, really an oppressive regime. And I just really didn't want to live in that country. And from the age of 15, I dreamed to leave this country once and for good, so that I can fully dedicate myself to all these things that I really wanted to do. Travel the world, making music with fantastic musicians. Well, Soviet Union is no more. Now it's different. Now there is social media as well. Until a certain moment in the recent history, we were also very free to travel, which doesn't seem to be a norm anymore. I hope that comes back. And and then there were also there were maybe not less instrument makers than they are today. Probably there were less, but I would not make this an assumption because I just don't have verified information. But what is true is in 25 years ago, there were no millions of instruments produced by factories, for example. So today, factory-produced instruments are literally flooding the market. And it has been highlighted in a number of publications. I think Business Insider wrote that about the issues in this 500 years old tradition of professional instrument making in Europe. Business Insider wrote that today, master craftsmen in Italy spend 200, 300 hours crafting a single instrument, while mass-produced instruments are flooding the market. And there is a little bit of an issue with this because for a lot of younger instrument makers, it has become more difficult maybe than 25 years ago to enter in the trade because serving the beginners or serving amateurs, these markets have largely been taken over by the factories. So there is an issue. On the other hand, we have also social media, which we didn't have then. So today we can literally speak to the entire world, raise awareness about our brand, and use social media strategies to connect with way more people. So I find that today in a way, it is much harder, but in a way, it is also much easier to be an artist. In fact, I still believe, and a couple of years ago, and since 5 years ago, I was continuously repeating this idea in my social media content, and there are around 3,000 videos across the platforms that I'm using, that today it is the very best time ever in history to be an artist. And we definitely need to keep it that way from now on, whatever some crazy people are doing out there. So there are changes, there are negative changes, there are also positive changes that I believe, and it is very important. It is very important to focus on the positive and build around that. It is the seeds of the positivity that bring the results that you want, and you also want to have, of course, as an entrepreneur in the lives of all these people that you know you can serve.
Thank you so much, Dimitri. We actually have a comment from Keto 080. Hello, Dimitri. I don't know if you know this person or not, but thank you for watching. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, type, and we will be very, very pleased to answer to the best of our abilities.
Thank you, Dimitri. We're going to take a break, and we're actually going to watch 2 music videos from former
Let's do it.
guests, and friends of the show. The first one is called Follow Love by Madeline Chan. She is actually my vocal coach. And the second is from the Debutantes, and you can follow them over on Instagram, Victoria and Lavinia. So let's take a look first, and we'll watch Madeline Chan and then the Debutantes, and we'll be right back with Dimitri after this.
By your love, what you giving me is just not enough. I need a love to take me higher and higher and higher. Every step I take, I feel more awake. Getting closer now, I feel so alive. Stopping me, this is how I live. Ever closer now, just follow love.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV, home of Talking Heads, and also welcome to our listeners on Business Talk Radio. You are watching or listening to I Have a Story to Tell, and it's not mine, it's this gentleman's. It's Dimitri from the Netherlands. He is an instrument maker, a musician, he's an author, he's a mentor, and he is a coach. In our first segment of the show, Dimitri gave us some background of his 25 years of making instruments and how he tries to work with people, even his competitors from around the world. He is a recognized expert. And in this segment, Dimitri, I would love to talk about the fact that we've been in this pandemic for so long. We're all sick of it. There is something about music that brings joy to people. And it's also therapeutic. It helps us express our feelings. So I'd love for you to share with our audience, what does music mean to you?
That is a fantastic question. Before I answer this question, I want to share with you how much I am enjoying this show. And it is absolutely incredible how you combine all these videos, changing the state. And it's so important to change the state and keep the energy. Wow, it's so engaging. I really wish we can continue this until midnight. And my memory fails me a little bit now. I don't remember who was it who said that the true artists create and great artists steal. Now, I want to be the great artist who will steal a few things that I'm learning now from you when I create my shows, my podcast, Lucia's and Legacy podcast. Yeah, I'm really
Absolutely,
inspired. I'm
please.
really inspired by what you're doing. So I find this really fascinating in using the videos in the middle and then again playing your brand and all the other elements. Fantastic. It's
Thank
really
you.
great.
Thank you.
Now, to your question, what music means to me? Music means to me really a lot. That's my life. This is in my veins. And, I grew up in the Soviet Union. In the Soviet Union, I don't want to speak about politics, and definitely not in this show. But the thing is, in the Soviet Union, this was a kind of crazy state where you had no such a thing as freedom of speech. You were not allowed to say anything which was not in line with the official narrative. And for a lot of, even when I was a child, it was still there. For my father and my grandfather, that was a matter of life or death, because this was way more severe. There are 61 million people that were persecuted by the communists. But, well, we are not going there. So when I was a kid, music for me and for many professionals, many colleagues of mine, was the only means to express anything there is in your heart without the fear of getting censored, criticized, alienating people. And this is what really inspired me, and I felt deeply connected with music, especially through the music of my absolutely incredible first violin playing teacher, Simeon Ziskin, with whom I'm still in a very close contact to this day. And I consider him my musical father. So I began with him at the age of 8. And he happened to be my next door neighbor. So as a kid, I found myself very frequently glued with my ear to the keyhole in his door, breathless, listening to him playing the violin. And when he introduced me, and my father also introduced me to the theater, I was very young, and I didn't know if they really wanted me to get introduced to music that early, because I was really too young, but or it was like a babysitting issue. I don't know what was the reason, but anyhow, I ended up in the theater, and I was so impressed by all the scholars singing, dancing. It was an opera theater, and decorations and unusual costumes and orchestra. And I remember these very, very happy faces of the audiences. And some people were moved to tears. And I was really touched. I was really touched by the music. And I felt moved to tears. And literally, I didn't want to go back home. Again, we didn't have a home back in those days. No one owned any properties, and my family happened to live in a 12 or 15 square meters room in a dormitory belonging to that theater, without running water or shower or anything, or even a kitchen. And I didn't want to go back home. I just wanted to stay there, and I was shocked, overwhelmed, impressed, inspired, you name it, that state, and thinking, goodness, if music. Actually, I'm not sure. As a kid, I was thinking that profoundly. This is now in my memory, and if music makes people that happy, I want to be a musician. And true, that was the time when I already decided that I want to dedicate myself to music. That was it. That was the decision, and from there, all this journey began, and music is still very important for me, and especially since I no longer perform as a professional musician due to some severe health issues which I suffered a number of years ago, and which is when I discovered that now I need to share my knowledge with other people, because there is no point in acquiring all this experience, creating all this system, verifying what works, working with mentors, if I just keep it for myself and don't share. And this is why I discovered my passion to teach others and show them what works. If you're a musician, here's what you need to do. If you're an instrument maker, here's what you need to do. That is it. And that's my passion. So now I dedicate my life more to music professionals, such as music people who actually make music, who play instruments, and also those who create instruments. This is where my expertise is. That's what I do. So music, yeah, absolutely, of course.
Music is
Universal.
everything.
It's everything. It's universal
It is.
language. See what you have done with our audience by masterly putting these videos in the middle of our show. Beautiful. Who would disagree that this was not absolutely incredible? Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I love to showcase different talents that we have on the show. And when people perform or they have a performance that's upcoming, I like to be able to feature their work. So thank you for that. Dimitri, as we come to the end of our show, I'd love for you to highlight about your work as an author. And if you can share more about that, what people can expect by reading and following you, and where we can find your work.
Yeah, fantastic question. So I'm the author of the upcoming book on fine violin making. Now, the book is not yet ready, but I do have a publisher. And not only I have a publisher, I also have New York Times bestselling author to write a foreword for the book. I'm very excited about this. It's a fantastic, it's very intense, a lot of work. Somebody said that the book that will challenge you the most is the book that you write. And I truly agree with this statement. Yes, it is. It is really, really a big task. But I do hope to have my book out by the end of this year. It's already getting sold. People are already pre-ordering the book, although it is not yet out. So I know that this is going to be a huge success. And of course, Raymond Aaron's foreword for the book, this is absolutely going to be a beautiful, beautiful book. So let me tell you a little bit more about the book, and let me tell to our audience a little bit about this book and what I do. So the book is essentially, it's a very unique book on fine violin making, because probably it will be the only book that doesn't talk about the mere basics, like how you cut the wood or how you glue pieces. I mean, there is no shortage of information. This book is going to be dedicated to the system that made me a successful instrument maker, because this is what I want to share. This is the legacy that I want to leave. And this is what I want to share with other instrument makers. Nonetheless, violinists and musicians and music lovers will find this book also fascinating, because it's probably the only book that connects violin making as we know it today with 2,000 years of European culture, because I do dive very deep into the philosophical and aesthetical concepts of the original creators, and how they were inspired by everything that I have inherited from their predecessors. And I'm talking about literally thousands of years of European culture, and how that affected music, instrument making, and anything European, anything we are, indeed, because this culture is ingrained in who we are very deeply. So this is what the book is about. The focus is on instrument makers. It will be very interesting to instrument players as well, because in fact, I would love players be aware rather in these ideas, because there will be the players who will then ask instrument makers, hey, can you create me an instrument a certain way? And when the demand comes from players, then there is a bigger chance that this beautiful 2,000 years tradition, the European tradition, will be way more widespread among professionals. So that's my legacy. That's what I'm building at Bench, and trying to inspire other instrument makers to do the same. I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. It certainly does, and I would love to get a electronic copy and maybe write a testimonial if you would let me. I would love that.
With lots of pleasure, I will send you a signed copy to your address.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Dimitri, we have your banner scrolling across the bottom, but for people who are listening on Business Talk Radio, they're not able to read it. So can you just, I'm going to spotlight you again. Let us know how people can reach you, and who would you like to contact you?
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm working with both instrument makers and also professional musicians. And I do have a number of world-class musicians among my customers. It's been really a privilege and blessing to have that opportunity to work with that sort of musicians. So our listeners will be able to find me on a number of websites. So players will find me on BADIAROV Violins, so it's my family name, and Violins. And I'm extremely searchable, actually. If anyone types my name anywhere on in Google or anywhere, indeed, they will find me, because they can find me on LinkedIn, they can find me on Facebook, they can find me on YouTube. I'm literally everywhere. There are over 3,000 videos that I have produced for my audience across the platforms. There is another website, so instrument makers and indeed also musicians interested in the philosophy of European violin making, they can find my book on my website, my book's website, bookonviolinmaking.com. And also, additionally, that's not in the banner, but instrument makers interested in what I do, they can join me online in my free training. And that is on AuthenticInstrumentMakers.com, AuthenticInstrumentMakers.com. So this is where I teach. This is where I teach other instrument makers in a group setting, one-on-one, but also online. So there are webinars. There is a lot of way to connect with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. I appreciate you being here. I have a collaboration idea for the two of us. I'll reach out to you after the show.
Great. Fantastic.
All right. And thank you to Mr. Ben Shai for making the connection with the two of us. Appreciate it.
Ben, if you are watching this this show, profuse gratitude, Ben. Love you. Love everything you're doing.
We'll make sure that we tag him. So if he's not watching on the live, he'll be able to watch it later. Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Dimitri. I look forward to staying in touch. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi, everyone. We are just so excited to have Dimitri here with us. We thank him profusely. And we have another guest. Her name is Shamila. And we are going to take a quick break. And then we will be introducing her and bringing her out. So we're going to take a look at two clips. The first is the Earthshot Prize. And I want to thank Ian Pelham-Turner and Helena Shard, who are the royal commentators for the British royal family. Thank you for sharing this clip. And if you don't know, we have a show with them every Wednesday. It's called Celebrate Great Britain, Royally Rich Show. And then we will follow that up with another clip about the UK. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Ours is a world of wonder. Every day it reminds us of its beauty. It touches us, teaches us, and astounds us. But it also warns us that what we throw away does not go away. That higher temperatures mean a lot more than longer summers. That we can no longer take life as we know it for granted. We are at a unique stage in our history. Never before have we had such an awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about that.
Hello and welcome back. It's me here again. It's Dr. JACALYN KERBECK here at USA Global TV, home of Talking Heads. And also welcome to our friends on Long Island, New York, Business Talk Radio. My next guest is amazing as well. I love this program where we get to hear people's stories. That's what it's all about. It's about my guests, their journey, and their ability to inspire others. With us today is Miss Generation UK 2019. Her name is SHAMILA, MAZHAR, and I would welcome her to the program. Hello, how are you?
Hey. Oh my God, I love your accent. I'm not, I just love it because we're from England, so it's so different.
I love your accent. I always think the people in the UK speak so well, so properly, and here in America we're kind of lazy. We've got these colloquialisms and slang, and I just think the way you speak is so much better.
However, in the UK, because we watch so much American TV, I feel like we adapt your terminologies here and there. Like we sort of say your slangs. Like I'm a huge fan of Friends, so when I'm asking somebody, I'm like literally the Joey line. How you doing? I'm constantly saying that.
How you doing? What's up with you?
I try it, and I don't think I'm doing really good with it, but yeah, I do try.
Well, it's lovely to have you here, and I know it's already been a long day for you. We're glad that you could make the time to be here. So let's start off talking about your work in the world of pageants. Some people are not familiar with pageants. They might see the Miss America pageant, the Miss Universe pageant, and that might be all. So give us a little bit of your background about how you got started.
The crazy thing is, I'm exactly what you just described then is exactly what I am. I've never really I've watched pageants all my life, but never did I think it was easy to get into. I thought there was a big criteria, a certain type had to, you had to be a certain way to get into sort of the industry. But I just, by default, I entered. It was a friend who entered me into a pageant in 2019. I was really reluctant to do it, but I had a lot of support behind me. They're like, Shamila, just try it, see what happens. I went through to the photo shoots, and the minute I walked in, it just felt amazing because you realize so many different women who are coming into a pageant world, especially if they're new, you just sort of learn from each other's experience. The pageant I did was actually for older women anyway. So I think the main pageant age is a lot younger. So I came into the pageant world at 40. So it's something completely different. It's not something that I would expect to do at this age. So it was meeting different people from different backgrounds. And it was my first pageant. Never done any catwalks, never done anything that sort of put you in center stage. I think that was something that was really nerve-wracking for me. But I did it with a lot of support from the company. And I think that's another thing that we don't give enough credit to. The organizers, the choreographers, the people behind the scenes, they really do support you to build this confidence. So you could walk into this pageant world thinking, oh, I can't walk, I can't do the catwalk, I've got no confidence, but they build that for you. So for me, the biggest thing about the pageant world was it taught me how to be sort of a lot more confident within myself, how I present myself, accept who I am, don't try and be something else. And I think that's what this pageant world did to me. And now I'm excited to bring other women in. I'm trying to push other girls to come in and go through this experience because it's that perception that we have what pageants are, but going through it, it's not that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I agree. We've had several people who have been in pageants in the last couple of years. It's amazing. And everyone's story it's one of camaraderie. It's one of empowerment. It's one of confidence. And at least here in the States, at some point in time, I don't remember specifically, there was a lot of focus on the fact that mothers were putting their young daughters into pageants. Maybe they were 6 or 7 years old, and the pressure that was really placed upon the children, even the parents, to make sure that the children progressed enough to go from pageant to pageant to pageant. Right. But we've seen a lot of changes. Is it still, you mentioned entering at 40, which is, by the way, I don't know what your secrets are. That could be another show. Your skin is flawless.
Join the next one.
Exactly. We'll just stay here with topic after topic. So what have you found in terms of different generations of women being able to come forward and be in pageants, whereas before it was you had to look a certain way, be a certain age, be able to sing or be able to walk or have some kind of talent? How has that evolved?
This is exactly what I love about the pageant world now. It's the fact that we have acknowledged that women are all different. We're not all the same shape. We're not all the same size. We're not all the same color. We come from different backgrounds and ethnicities, and I think the pageants now are they reflect that a lot more. There's like even so just recently I've just been a judge at the same pageant that I won. I'm one of the judges now. And the girls that came through this year, it was one of the hardest decisions judging them because they were all fabulous. And they all come from different areas, different places in the world. And you can't judge. So you want to just give everyone a title, but you also learn that the world has changed. You know, we used to have a certain box that we put models into. So you have to be a certain size, a certain height, certain hair color. Now, I think beauty is literally within, because even when we're judging, we're not just judging on your exterior. I'm judging on your presence, how you engage with people. And I think that's becoming more evident as well in the pageant world. It's not just about beauty, it's inner beauty too. So we're combining the both. And I think that's one massive achievement through the pageant world that has evolved over the years.
Thank you very much, Shamila. I want to talk about your work as a fitness instructor, but before we go there, what would you say for you personally was the main takeaway as a participant versus being a judge?
I think the participant side, you realize how hard it is. Like, I am going to hold my hands up to everybody, and if I offend you, I'm really sorry. But before, I used to think, oh, modeling's easy. You know, doing a catwalk, you just walk and you do it. I used to have that mindset. I also used to have a different kind of outlook at catwalks and modelling. Until I didn't do it, until I didn't get on that catwalk, I didn't realise how hard and how difficult it can be. It's not something that you want to do. You don't want to go through all the negativities. It's not about that. It's more about when you're walking and people are judging on your walk and your stance. You become, your nerves just take over. So I've seen that side. So knowing that and knowing how I originally couldn't do the walk, by the way, I couldn't even do the catwalk. As times evolved and I became more and more confident, and I doubted myself many times. The being a participant, I know that I did the best I could, and I learned so many things, and I built a completely different respect for catwalk models and just modeling in general. As a judge, I've now, being on that side, I can sit back and look at the girls and understand that the pressures that they're going through, how they may be feeling, and what we need to judge them on. It's not, sometimes you have this feeling that, oh, hang on, I've not done it right. Giving them a second chance as well. So, okay, nerves do take over, because this is not professional modeling. It's catwalk just for a pageant. And the pageant is more about evolving and empowering women. It's not about that we're judging you to be perfect. We want you to be the best version of you. And that's what I think I've noticed being a judge and being on the catwalk as well.
Thank you very much. That's excellent. I love how you really led us down that path of your own personal experience and your evolution. Then, of course, Queen. Let us not forget that. What it was like to win. What has it been like to have won that title?
You have to watch my video. It's hilarious. Me actually getting when I get the crown. I think because you don't realize you. I just thought I'm competing, and that's the biggest thing for me. Just to compete in a pageant and being a finalist, for me, I was quite happy with that. The fact that I got Queen, even till the last second, I wasn't sure. I was like, sure? Are you sure you're picking me? Have you made a mistake? But with the Queen title, it doesn't just carry the Queen title. There's so many things you get involved with, because you then become really, you become a bit of an icon for other girls who are going to join the pageant world. And it's also helping them through their journey, because you're trying to empower other women who also feel nervous about themselves, their self-confidence, building their personalities, because some girls are very timid, and by the end of the process they're a bit more open and they're a bit more confident. So that's, as a queen, I even feel that that's something I push a lot, even recently.
Thank you. I'm just envisioning you there getting the crown, like, what, me? And I think that's kind of a natural response, because you put so much into it, and it's that moment. Meanwhile, all this work and effort has come up to that point. So what was your reign like?
My reign was really interesting because I was the first queen of Miss Generation. The competition was new. I was the first person who ever won Miss Generation. So for me, I didn't have another queen to sort of look at or inspire to be or have support from. So it was sort of like I was new to the whole world. And then I think I started doing a lot of research myself to see how other beauty pageant queens present, what is expected of other queens across the world. What do I want to do? What was my take on this? And I think for me, my take was always to encourage other women to try something like this. Not about winning, it's just about doing something for yourself. Because I think a lot of us spend a lot of our times worrying about children, worrying about families, worrying about work. And even just coming and participating in pageants, you just leave your sorrows and your stress behind, and you're just focusing on yourself. So I think through the year of my reign, I was helping and supporting other girls coming into the pageant world. Obviously I'm a fitness instructor, so I also helped with the dancing choreography when we went to do rehearsals. So it's like taking girls to one side and saying, oh, what about, if we do sort of choreography like this, supporting them as best as I could, because again, I think I didn't have a queen to go to. I then became the queen to help others. So I think I'm the first queen for Miss Generation, and now we have a new queen, and I'm hoping that she'll then move forward and evolve the company even more.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's lovely. We are going to take a break now and hear from one of our guests. She actually has an incredible voice and a beautiful message. But before we do, I just want to thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to talk about the world of fitness and how it's evolved, because fitness is really top of mind for many people, especially with the pandemic, and how they had to change the routine or maybe start a routine or give up some bad habits. So let's come back with that if you're okay with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So our the record label is Licorice Dragon Records, and our performer is ILO, ILO. You can find her music over on iTunes. So let's take a look, and then we'll be right back with more of Shamila. Bye. Hold on. Sorry. Bye. Hold on. I'm confused. The phone's ringing downstairs. Sorry. Okay. We will be right back after this message and this beautiful song from ILO. It's called Heroes in Disguise, available again on iTunes.
I don't think men are superficial idiots, that their brains are wired to be visual. I'm told I give great advice. Nike Just Do It for exercise, I think really applies to sex, too. I've coached hundreds of men and women. Oh, I disagree with her where she's like, put it all out there on the first date. You know, an open book is not sexy. Exactly. You know. Do you have relationship questions? Chances are one of my clients or myself or my friends have gone through the same thing, and I already made a video about it. So I invite you to check out my YouTube channel, Donna Barnes. I've made hundreds of advice videos based on real-life experiences so that you can make better choices.
In my upcoming Breakup Recovery Action Plan, there's going to be checklists and quizzes.
Best information that I've ever experienced or acquired. If you're stuck and can't move forward or let go, my action plan is built to help you. Subscribe to my channel. I'll help you have better relationships.
Hello and welcome back to I Have a Story to Tell here on USA Global TV, home of Talking Heads. And also hello and welcome to our friends at Business Talk Radio out of New York. Shamila is here with me. We were just talking about her incredible journey as a contestant to a queen, to a judge for the Miss Generation UK pageant, and we are just thrilled to have you here. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about fitness, because fitness is something that we all need to have in our lives in one way or another, whether we go kicking and screaming and we're not going to work out, we've got to take care of our body. So tell us a little bit about your journey and why you're passionate about helping others when it comes to fitness.
Oh, right. Oh, we're going back there. You won't believe this, and I keep having people that say this to me. No, we don't believe you, but I was a very overweight girl growing up. I think from the ages of, 12. My mum says 12, but I'm convinced it was slightly after. I had a condition when I was very young, which made me put on a lot of weight. So I was under medication up until the age of 20. And I think the medication made me blow up a little bit more than I should. So in those years, not that I was bullied, but you can see how society looked at me very differently. It's like really bizarre. You wouldn't get picked for, again, anything to do with modeling. You wouldn't get, boyfriends were a problem then, it was like the big one. So it sort of impacts your mental health, because in those days, because obviously it's a long time ago, you just didn't talk about it. Now I think we're more aware of mental health, and we talk about these issues about bullying and being segregated due to how we look. So I think it was about after I turned 21, I felt like things needed to change. So I slowly went into classes, very reluctant to start fitness myself. Coming from an Asian background, I think even my family were like, oh, Asian girls don't do this. I'm like, no, Mum, let me try it. It's about health. So I started doing classes for a good couple of years. I got really excited and I started learning a lot. I've always loved dancing. So through classes, you do a lot of like dance sort of movements. So you don't realize how much exercise you're doing through dancing. But at the end, the results were coming through. When I hit 24, I'd lost loads of weight. And I was feeling more confident within myself. And then my instructor at the time, who I've never been able to locate since then, asked me, why don't you become an instructor? And I went, no chance. She went, you have lost so much weight over these years and your fitness levels are so high. You've got great energy, and I think you'd really help other people. And I thought about it and actually then decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I did the course at the time, and I became a fitness and dance instructor. Straight after, I taught at the same place where I lost weight and where I got my passion for fitness. So I taught at the same gym for about a year. And then after that, I got scouted from different gyms, and I started getting pulled into, I think at the time it was about 3 other gyms. So I was teaching all the time. And since then, so it's been I think about 13 years now, coming on to 13 years. I've been teaching for so long. And it's very similar to the pageant thing. I love how I've gone through something and I'm then helping others go through the same process. So I've helped women lose weight. I've helped people just get generally fit. So my main focus has been, again, to empower women, or even men, to be fair. I've got a lot of men clients, and make them feel good about themselves. And fitness isn't just about, you have to do it this way. It's what works for you, because we all have different abilities. I'm not a person who can run. So there you go. I hate running. Don't put me on a treadmill. I can't do it. But if you make me dance for 3 hours, I wouldn't stop. If you make me do like a cardio class with loads of energy and music, I won't stop. So it's what you like within yourself that you can push yourself. So I think that's what my message is with fitness as well when I'm teaching, that let's do fitness that caters for that individual, rather than what society say, let's go running for an hour, or let's, go swimming for an hour. It's what works for that person.
Very true. Thank you for sharing that. I also have been a fitness instructor over the years, a personal trainer. Wow. I am a certified yoga instructor now, and I was a certified spin instructor. But where I want to go with this, my point is that we have so many options now, so many different ways to exercise because of technology. Yes. But one thing still remains true. You have to move. It doesn't matter what you're moving on, but you've got to get out there. So to your point, you don't like running. I used to run. I hate running. It's so boring. It's just so boring.
And don't you hate that everyone pushes it? It's like, oh, go running for half an hour. I'm like, I don't feel really comfortable doing that.
And by the way, it's hard on your face. It pulls your face down. It pulls everything down. And you could easily hurt yourself. You could trip. You could misstep. And I see people running using a phone. Like, what are you doing? You know, they're like trying to voice type or whatever. So anyway, but one thing I think has really helped make fitness attractive to people who might not have otherwise wanted to work out is the fact that there are so many new things that you can do. So for example, and I don't know when it was developed, but trampolining. I started trampolining during the pandemic, which I thought to myself, oh, it's only for little kids. But no, you can buy this. It's right behind my green screen. It's about this big, and it's a great workout. So I have, and I wondered if you have these, do you ever use any devices like this iPhone? iWatch?
Okay, no.
It's amazing because you had one.
I had one, but I didn't use it.
It tracks everything that you do. So you can actually be in a competition with yourself. Yeah, so you can help your clients. You say you can see your heartbeat. If you're, the better shape you get in, the more your heartbeat's going to be, resting heartbeat's going to be lower. So I just love it. So aside from trampolining, I love jump roping in between every set.
Oh.
So you do push-ups, you do weights, and then you jump rope for maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes in between. Have you ever tried that?
Yes. So yeah, I do jump rope as well. We call it
good.
Skipping. We call it skipping. Skipping. I do skip. But okay, so do you do fitness instructor? Are you a personal trainer even now as well?
No, not now.
What made you stop? See, I'm going to ask you questions now.
I think I stopped because then I retired from my career last year and I traveled all over the world and I was getting my doctorate. I was doing all different kinds of things. So I couldn't keep doing it because I wasn't in one place long enough. Wow. But I am a certified yoga and meditation teacher today. Right. So I did a lot of that online during the pandemic.
See, this is what it is. I think in the pandemic, I even thought about the same. I was like, I did do some classes online at the time, but I think a lot of people were struggling with the online concept. And even myself, I think even I don't feel that comfortable doing online classes. I prefer to be with other people.
Yes.
So I think in the pandemic, I did let myself go a little bit, but it was what was meant to be. But I did encourage. So I did have about 4 clients in the pandemic who would have regular, like would go to the park and they'd be really, really far from me, and we'd have like certain sessions done. But ultimately, I think the pandemic, it was trying to encourage people to stay fit. But exactly what you said, my main message was, don't sit down too long, because we can get so used to that. You're just like, oh, I'm not going to get up. Just keep moving. Whatever you're doing, just keep moving. And even if you're not doing strenuous exercise, you're moving around, even if it's relaxing. But something you've just mentioned, you mentioned that you're doing yoga. I am actually now looking at becoming a yoga instructor. And that's something that I feel like we need to do a lot of, because meditation is even stretching after exercise. Stretching is key. And I feel like I need to now push myself to another level of doing something like yoga or Pilates.
Well, that's good, right? That's how we grow. We just keep pushing ourselves.
Absolutely. So yeah, now that you've mentioned it, I might have a call afterwards and find out how that journey went for you, so I can get some tips.
Absolutely, I would love that. And I started my yoga practice, I think 20 some years ago. My cousins out in California, I was visiting them, and they asked me to go to this class. And I've always wanted exercise that would take me to the next level. So if I have to die, if I'm going to go, let me go when I'm working out, because I really do love working out. So I started doing hot yoga, and I wanted to do, crazy hot yoga. So at the time it was called Bikram, and it was 105 degrees, but I would place myself in between 2 of the floor heaters that, they had these space heaters on the ground. So it was like 110 where I was. And that's how I really started my yoga addiction. And now I like power yoga. in a heated room. So it combines a lot of cardiovascular as well as push-ups and sit-ups and all kinds of things that I would say it's a high impact workout that's also yoga.
I find America evolves exercise a lot faster than the UK. We're a little bit slower. So I think the trampolining classes they've been here for a while as well, but in America it evolves a lot faster, because my friends who are from America, they tell me things and I'm like, oh, I just need to come to America and do some classes out there.
Well, I think a lot of things come from New York and California, and they become fads or they're actually embraced. So I know for me that I want to be pushing myself constantly. So I'm willing to try new things. And I had a personal trainer myself for about 4 years. I learned so much from her. And I went to work with her again, and she said, you don't need me. You know exactly what to do. So I'm very lucky, because where I live on an island, the gym that she owns, there's times you can go in that there's very few people. So I just set up stations all around the gym, and I jump rope in between. I might crawl across the floor and do my push-ups, my hanging pull-ups.
Train with you. I have to come over and just train. We need a session, me and you.
Definitely. I mean, we could do a virtual session even, but.
Well, now that the borders are opening for America, I am my biggest one of my biggest dreams was to always come to New York as a child. So now that things are getting slightly back to normal, I am hoping to come to visit the Big Apple, and I want to do some sort of like tour around America, because it's just, we see it on TV regular here, and I think it's a country that we do take a lot from, like ideas and where everything evolves from. So I do want to come and visit the country. So when I'm there, I'm going to be hooking you up.
Absolutely. And I'm planning on coming to London in the spring.
Oh,
so are you in London?
Well, I will get there. When you're there, I'll be there.
Fantastic. I just have met so many wonderful people from the UK, and we have a lot of people from the UK on this platform. So I need to go over there and meet everyone in person.
Oh, well, you please let me know when you do come, because I'm in London regular for Miss Generation, and I've got a lot of ventures in London. But when you come, you have to let me know, because I have to meet you face to face.
Oh, I definitely, yes, for sure.
I'm taking you for dinner.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I look forward to that. So we've actually come to the end of our show, which I hate. I always feel so sad because I could stay forever, but we have another show coming up. So I would love to know what messages of empowerment you would like to share with our audience as we close out our show today.
I will say to everyone, if you have a dream, even as a child, or something that you think you never can do, just go out there and do it. I always thought a certain way when I was growing up. I could never do this, I could never do that. I'm 40 now, and everything that I thought I couldn't do, I actually can do. So I suggest that everybody that has any things that in their heart that they've never done and they think about, just go out there and do it.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'd love to have you back on our other program called Stories of Hope, Inspiration, Overcoming Adversity. I think there are many people who have gone through situations where they weighed a certain weight, they were excluded from certain things, they were bullied, they were made fun of, and they evolved through their life.
Yeah.
But yet there was that little voice that was still there from when they were the little girl, the younger boy, whatever the case may be. So I'd love to have you back on to talk about that.
But that's actually very true, because I do feel that there is other parts of the journey that, we've not been able to touch on. And it is about that voice. It's about how you perceive. Like, even I sometimes look and think, oh, I don't look right. But it's that voice telling me it's not the truth.
So true. So true. And I'll just share that I think part of the reason why I've always been obsessed with working out is because I've always been afraid of being fat. And even today, I'll look in the mirror and tell myself how fat I am. And I'll say, stop it. That's, let that go.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's been there for such a long time, and you deal with it. And yet sometimes it just pops up and you have to say, no, we dealt with you. You're not there anymore.
But I think it's a lot more pressure in the United States than it is in the UK, from what I see. And I think there's a from what I understand, there's a body image type that the society puts there, and that goes in our head, but we don't accept who we are, and we need to start doing that more.
Very true.
I'd love to talk to you again. Definitely.
Yes. And another topic we can talk about is it's the aging process. So I'm 58 and nobody hands you a book. Yes. And nobody hands you a book and says, by the way, when you turn this age, all these things are going to change and they're all going to happen. And even though you're working out the same, you have to eat less. Yes. So we'll talk from two different generations about that.
Absolutely. Let's do this. Let's definitely do this.
Okay. We'll connect after the show.
Absolutely, darling. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here. I'm going to spotlight you again. How can people get in touch with you and who should contact you?
Anyone can contact me. My details are running on the screen at the below. I can see it coming across. You can contact me on my Facebook and Instagram, which is my name, and it's spelled like that. If you want to know more about my Miss Generation journey, you can follow us on Miss Generation UK website. And if you want to know more about fitness, I've got beauty products and things like that. Again, just drop me a message, and I'll try my best to help.
Thank you. It was lovely meeting you, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Likewise, my dear.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, beautiful. Bye. I've said this before. I hate hitting that remove button. I hate when I have to take a guest off the screen because I meet so many wonderful people. Everyone has a great story, and I just wish we had endless amounts of time to continue talking, but we have to set up other shows. So if you would like to be a guest on our show, go to my website, drjacalyn.com. I do have some exciting announcements. For those of you who are not familiar, we have a beautiful, wonderful platform. I'm scrolling for the graphic. It's called Talking Heads. Talking Heads is for the elites, the best, highest level of mastery coaches in the world, or mentors, people who are experts in their field. Our platform is a place for you to bring your expertise and for you to show our global platform, our worldwide audience, all the information and the expertise that you have gathered throughout your career. It is by invitation only. If you are interested in applying, please do go to my website, drjacalyn.com. Also, we are hiring. The banner is scrolling across the bottom. We're looking for 5 interns and a producer. You can go to Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com for more information. I'll just let that scroll. Okay, we've got another show coming up. It's presenting Pet Psychic Amina. And I'm really looking forward to seeing her. I always learn so much about our environment and also about how we need to take care of our 4-legged friends. Aside from that, we will be closing out with me as the listening mentor. I give online seminars every Thursday, The Power of Listening. And if you think about the world we live in today, who doesn't want to be able to be heard? How can you be heard if you don't know how to hear? So I teach people how to listen. And we have these seminars every Thursday. We have part 1 and part 2. Once you've completed them, they're 90 minutes each. They're interactive with other team members. So it's not a webinar, it's an actual live seminar. You take a quiz and you get certified for the first level of introduction. So you learn the behaviors of a good listener, of an active listener. You get to watch role plays, and you get to vote on people's behavior in the role plays. And sometimes we identify ourselves with what we're watching in the role play. So it's actually a lot of fun, and it's a good way to learn. And again, if each of us could learn how to listen more effectively, without judgment, without trying to provide a solution, without interrupting the other person, without dismissive body language, imagine what our world would be like. And that's what my hope is for, that we have world peace by learning to listen to each other one step at a time. And I'm here to facilitate. Thank you again to everyone for watching. We'll see you shortly when I come back with Amina for presenting Pet Psychic Amina right here on USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio.